Okay. My name's Jon Osborne. I am 42, live in Sheffield. I have been running seriously for probably about 12 to 13 years. I started running way back when I was at school. I did cross country, loved being outside, loved the cross country scene. Then, as I grew up, I discovered smoking. I discovered drinking. I realised that you couldn't do all three things. So the running, unfortunately, took a sideline, and that was the case for probably about 10 years. When I had kind of an epiphany of like I need to get into shape. I need to become a bit healthier anyway. So it was around the same time that I met my wife, and I decided, right, I'm giving up smoking, and I had cut back on drinking. I'd cut back on going out constantly every weekend, and so on, and realised that I needed an outlet, needed something to do that I could still like live my life and eat lots of food as well. So I went back to running, and my brother is a very good fell runner, and he's run for his club. He's run for Yorkshire. I think he's represented England as well in some disciplines. So he was kind of the person that I looked towards in terms of what shall I do next? I'm going to run. Where shall I run? And it was always going to be off-road. It was always going to be trails. It was going to be fells. And I just love being muddy. I think it's that inner child where who doesn't love jumping about and splashing in puddles? We never grow up, I don't think. So anything that would get me into fells and trails and bogginess and all of that. And it kind of snowballed from there on. I joined lots of fell races, entered as many fell races as I could for the first few years, and then decided I'll start looking at longer stuff as well. Realised I wasn't going to get any faster. So it's like, well, I'm not going to break any records. I'm not going to win any races. Let's see if I can maximise the time out on the trails. And so, I think it must have been maybe 6, maybe 7 years ago, I started looking at longer races. I did the Yorkshire Three Peaks quite a few times. And then just naturally started looking at ultra running, wanting to push the boundaries of how far I could run, and just treating it as a massive day out as well. I never wanted to, I was never focused on being the fastest, because I've got a full-time job, I've got a family, I ain't got time to spend focusing too much on all the speed work. I'll throw speed sessions in, but I like plodding along on the trails. I like running and walking. I like being out. I like just 4, 5, 6 hours of adventure in a way. That's where I am now, really. Entered my first backyard ultra, which is yours, last year. Loved it, and managed 24 hours, and hopefully this year I'll beat it. Well, just one more, 25. Although I'm not going to give up at 25. I'll see what happens. You never know. I will approach it just with caution and just do as much as I can on the day.
Yes, I mean that's all you can do, really.
No, so this will be my second ever one. And I've followed, over the past couple of years, I've followed we had the international backyard one, and I think a couple of years ago it was the satellite ones where each country did it at the same time. So I was following all of those. So the second that I heard that you were doing one last year, I was like, right, I'm signing up for this. This seems right up my street. But yeah, so I've my PB is 24 hours, 100 miles. That's the furthest I've ever run as well. So on that day, on last year, that was my furthest distance that I'd ever traveled in one go. And yeah, we'll see. Let's see what happens this year. Yeah, yeah. So last year I had no aspirations, no goal whatsoever. I think I was possibly the only one who didn't realize that 24 hours meant 100 miles. And it didn't twig until like, it must have been the 20th lap or something. Somebody had mentioned, like, oh, you're going for the 100 mile. I was like, well, I don't know. I'm just going to carry on. It says, oh, well, 24 hours, 100 miles. The second that came into my head, it was like, oh, I'll just do that. I'll get the 100 miles. And mentally, I think I had shut down by then. It was like, right, well, I've got that. I've done 24, I've done 100 miles. That's it for me. So I'm not going to set myself a goal this year. Yeah, I'd love to beat it. But you never know what's going to happen on the day. If all goes well, I'm just going to carry on. And it's 4 miles. It's one more lap. I'm going to forget about how many I've done. I'm going to forget about how many I've got. I'm going to try to like remove all kind of maths from my head, which would be quite easy, and just look at the hour, that time passing, and reset every hour. And I think that possibly is the best way to do it, because then you're not thinking too much. You're not second guessing yourself,
Yeah.
and then you ultimately you're not going to be disappointed in yourself as well. It's that being able to turn your brain off and just run, because I'm sure I'm not alone here in saying that I run to clear my head. I run for it's a therapeutic process. I unwind by running, and if you can run a loop without really thinking about the fact that you're running a loop, and you've got all different kind of thoughts going on in your head, but knowing, like, not really caring whether you're first or last, only being really interested in meeting certain markers at certain times. So you don't care about your pace, but you've just got in the back of your head, it's like, I've got an hour to do this. And it's one of the most relaxing forms of an ultra in a way, because you're not constantly seeing different landscapes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the Peak District, the Lake District. When it comes to like going up hills, I love hills, I love mountains, love going over, like seeing different landscapes. But when there isn't that distraction, it's just one lap. It's just carrying on, and you can turn your head off, and you can just get lost in it. Last year in the nighttime sections, I remember there was a big hubbub about some people hadn't ever run properly at night. And I love running at night because all you've got is that spotlight in front of you. And I remember just like going round and round, just following this light and not thinking about anything else. And you can just empty your head of all thoughts. And there's not many other sports, I don't think, where you can actually do that. You've got to be like completely focused on something. And really, as long as you can put one leg in front of the other, you can just run it. And it's quite, I don't know, like almost a Zen approach, I think. So before last year's, I did a few little sample replicating a backyard style. So I would drive out to a location, I'd have my boot full of snacks, and I'd do 5 or 6 hours of a loop, come back to the car, like put all my warm clothes on, practice with that, practice just standing around. And you start realizing that like standing around for 15 minutes, it's a long time. So I've replicated that this year. I'm not in as fit a position as I was last year, I don't think. So I did Lakes in a Day Ultra in October last year, and I tore my calf. So that has taken a while to heal, and I'm still a bit kind of. I'm sure it's healed, but in the back of my mind, I'm taking it so carefully. So the training itself is going well. I'm carrying on doing practice backyards. I'm doing 4, 5 loops at a time. The things that I definitely learned from last year is eating. You've got to eat, even where there will come a point, probably at night, when you just think, "Oh, I don't want to eat. I don't want to eat anymore," and that's fine for an hour or two. But then after that, you start feeling it, and you really need to push some food inside you. So I've been practicing with more foods and just like literally going out with slices of pizza, with peanut butter sandwiches, ham sandwiches, anything that isn't a really sweet gel. Because I can eat gels, but there's a limit to as much as you can have. I think the gel will be left for later on in the race when I need that real sudden boost of energy. But what I've been training with, what I learned last year is just you need to eat normal food and have a bit of a regulation as well. So don't just get back and like have a cup of tea every hour, because in real life you don't have a cup of tea every hour. So you've got to kind of mimic real life, trick your body into thinking that you're not actually doing something too energetic and it's just a normal day. But yeah, overall, I think the training's going well. There is only 3 weeks until the actual event, so I'll be tapering in a week and a bit. So I think I've probably only got about two long runs left before the actual thing. So whatever has happened, it's happened. I'm not going to suddenly get into any better shape, so I'm in as good a shape as I can be at the moment. But yeah, looking forward to seeing some just some good runners. Really, just it will be great to see the women's records get broken again.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
It would be amazing to see the like 107 laps get beaten, but who knows?
I'd be very surprised, but
very surprised.
You never know. There's that 0.1% chance.
Yeah. And just it's nice to see. So I've been following on your Facebook page so I know a couple of runners who are returning, and I can't remember her name. Is it Vicky or Vic?
Vic Owens, yeah.
Vic Owens, yeah. So I've been following her page for quite a while, and I know she's been doing quite a few. She did a recent backyard ultra a few weeks ago as well.
Yes, yeah.
So it'd be quite interesting to see what she does, because I think she's going to go far. Horse-sized duck. Oh, duck-sized horse. Yeah, because I mean horses are great, but they're big and they can cause damage. A duck-sized horse, you could have in the house. It'd trot about. It'd sit on your lap. A horse-sized duck would just be scary.
But free flights, you can just ride it places.
Can you trust a duck to take you where you want to go?
Can you trust a horse?
Yeah, but I mean, if it's that small, you don't need to.
You're not really going to be riding it anywhere, are
you? No, you're just going to worry about losing it. Really. Well, yeah, and a duck-sized horse would be best. Yeah,
perfect.
It's scary.